vision, people perish. Knowing what you want and going for it are two very different things. You need to go for a gut check. So, are you making your choices or living someone else's choices? The way I see it, I literally have three choices in life. One of the choices is I need to stand still, or I can move forward, or I can move backward. So you do have choices in life. It's up to you. There's three of them where I come from in my thought process. And one of them is you can stand still, or you can move forward or move backward. I mean, just think about it. Just think about it in the concept of knowing what it is that you want and going for it. That it is so important for you to understand where you're coming from. And if you are understanding where you're coming from, then we can easily say that where there's no vision, people perish. So that is in perspective, something for you to think about. Well, June here at LMC is all about intentional living. It's all about intentional living. So 1 year ago this June, LMC took on to the social media platforms. It was a very scary journey, but that was me being intentional for LMC. You see, for the longest time, I was communicating on a one-to-one. This is what I did. I went on a one-to-one. I was in classrooms teaching. I was in boardrooms mentoring and coaching. And now the pandemic had actually pushed me, motivated me to take on another environment. So it was a social media platform, and we are turning one on the 23rd of this month. And I am really excited. And in celebration of this, in the spirit of this celebration, we are giving away two great prizes. One of them is group life coaching session that is valued at 50,000 shillings. Group life coaching session, you come in with 5 of your friends, at least you and 4 more. So 5 of you. I take a maximum of 5 so that we can have identified time together. We can have valued time together and we can engage. So that is group life coaching session. And we go through this, and I throw in an additional exit session for you that happens after a month. So that is one of the things that I'm giving away, a group life coaching session valued at 50,000. The next one is the clarity goal setting session that is valued at 15,000. Why is this important at this time that I'm giving it away at this time? This is because we are starting the mid-month of the year. We are halfway through. It's time for a gut check, guys. This is when you go back and you start to think, I had all these resolutions, I had these plans, I said I was going to do X, Y, Z. Where am I now? So this clarity goal setting session helps you to be realigned to your goals, to your mission, to your vision, to your purpose. And if you are very, very specific and you have clarity, you are able to go back and see how much you have grown and see what kind of learnings you've had along the way. Now, for you to qualify, all you have to do is tag us in your Instagram post or on your Facebook post. Tag us at Tuesday Talks at 3. And if it is Instagram, tag us at lucy.macridis, so that you stand a chance, you're able to stand a chance to win. Now, the deadline was the 4th of June, but I have extended this deadline in the spirit of celebration to the 18th of June. I have extended this deadline to the 18th of June. So it's really a good opportunity for you to step up. This is yet another opportunity for me to share my purpose, which is help build one another. It is my choice of intentional living just to help build one another. And I choose to move forward. Remember, I said you've got 3 options as far as I'm concerned. The first one is you can stand still while life is happening around you, or you can move forward while life is happening around you, or you can move backwards. The choice is up to you. And this is all about intentional living. So up to right there, share with us what you have done and how it has worked for you. It will be so nice to just share these ideas with you so that we can see how far we have come. Well, welcome to Tuesday Talks at 3. This is a platform for women to help one another in our daily journey as we go through the sphere of life. My name is Lucy Macredis, and I'm the founder of LMC Consultancy and an expert in helping women get unstuck and onto their full potential through unlocking their limiting beliefs. I am a clarity coach, I am a mentor, and I'm an online facilitator. Thank you for being with us here on this broadcast. So, karibu sana, Rosemary Odima. Welcome. I can see Lillian Gatti is already here. And I would say Guten Tag, Alice. Yeah, it is sehr good to see you over here. It is so good to see you all here. And as I started out, I was saying, where there is no vision, people perish. Where there's no vision, people perish. This suggests that you have to have a vision in your life, whether you want to call it a purpose or a mission, but you must have an agenda that you're following through. So now that you know what it is that you want, you've got to go for it. And this is where we introduce the intentional living. So this afternoon, our guest will be sharing her journey. She's going to be sharing her journey with us. And this journey that she's going to be sharing with us is on her intentional living. And it is along the stresses of this choice. Because in everything that you do choose in life, it comes with its pros and its cons. Yeah. So the stresses of making such a choice. She's also going to share with us the impact of living with purpose. I mean, just think about it. When you are thinking on areas of impact, that means there must be an incident or a fact that you're carrying out in your life. And then there's an impact. Yeah, there's a cause and there's an effect. So what is it that you choose in life? You know, life is happening to all of us. I choose to say that life is happening for me. Life happens for me. And when it happens for me, when I say that, my mindset begins to shift. It begins to accept the possibilities, the great stuff that can happen. You've heard about the proverbial silver lining. So if something happens for you, you are more likely to have a mindset of receiving, embracing, and looking at the optimistic outcome of this. When you say life is happening for you. But when you say, why is this happening to me? Your mind automatically goes into that environment of protection. It starts to kick in the protection vibes. It starts to want to go back to a place that it knows, a place of comfort, a safety zone. And usually that is operating from a point of fear. If something is happening that you're not used to, if a storm broke out today, from a point of fear, from a point of survival, you're going to look for a place to take cover. But if you look at the same storm and you say it is happening for me, you are going to look at the opportunities in this storm. And today my guest is here, and she's going to be talking about your health, your wealth. Isn't that powerful? Your health is your wealth. You are who you choose to become. And her name is Julie Ogutu. Now, Julie is an intensive care nurse. She is a founder of Health Podcast. Health is Wealth Podcast. So who better to bring today onto Tuesday Talks at 3 to share with us? So I'd like to just bring in Julie. And Julie, you are right there right now. We can see you all. Karibu sana, willkommen. It is very good to see you here. And I do hope all your friends are here right now, just watching with us and going to share. Karibu sana, Julie.
Thank you so much, Lucy. I'm so happy to be here.
What time is it in Germany?
It's 14:12. 2 p.m.
It is 14:12.
Yeah.
It's 2 p.m. Huh? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right. Well, as you can see, the time here in Kenya now is 1 hour ahead of you.
Oh, yeah.
But we're so happy to have you here. And I can see we've got Beth Mbogwa who is watching. Welcome, Beth Mbogwa. It's good to see you here. Today, for my dear audience, I would love for you to share with us what is your take on health? What is the thing that you have done for yourself, for your intentional living? So, Julie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, my name is Julie Ogutu, just as you said before, and I was born and raised in Siaya in Kenya. So, I came to Germany the last 10 years ago, and I'm a nurse by profession here in Germany. And as you said before, I proudly say I own the podcast Health is Wealth. So, Lucy, you're away?
I'm here. I'm listening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very clearly. We just want to know more about you, Julie.
Okay, so as I was saying before, I'm founder of podcast Health is Wealth. So thank you so much. And I will tell you more as we continue, Lucy, about this podcast and intentional living.
Oh, Julie, I love the fact that you're talking about a podcast, and this podcast that you have is all about your health and your wealth. Why did you start it?
Oh, I started this podcast because of my life experiences, Lucy. You know, as I said before, I was born in Siaya and I live here in Germany. And I had my internship in Siaya at a certain point 2 years ago. So that's the point whereby I really saw the necessity to bring out knowledge about health matters, because your health is your number one priority. If you don't invest in it right now, you will have to do that in future or very sooner. So the moment I was doing my internship, and there's a big difference between the health systems too, in Germany and in Kenya too. And I wanted to be part of the Kenyan health system, but at the same time, be in Germany here and to serve both communities. That's where my podcast comes in. So, that's it. Yeah.
Great. I mean, I've been through your podcast and it's so amazing. Yeah. It's the simple things in life that we need to be aware of. And I love the fact that you are bilingual, Julie. So you're not only speaking to the English speaking people, it is also to the German speaking. And health is universal. Health is universal. So as we're talking about intentional living, I would love to know about your journey to intentional living. I mean, yes, you've told us that you did your internship, you told us you got to Germany. So what is it? Why did you choose intentional living?
You know, Lucy, I started living intentionally even before I knew it, Okay. So there's an event which happened in my life whereby after that, I started living with purpose. I was moving in a new apartment maybe 2 years ago. And I saw I had a lot of things. That was the first thing. I had a lot of things which they had no meaning to me. And I had to filter out.
You're talking about the material things in your life.
Exactly, the material things. You have maybe 2 TVs or 2 microwaves. Do you really need them? So that was the point whereby I started living intentionally, even without knowing it. But at that moment, I knew what I wanted. What I wanted was I needed things that I'm attached to, things that I can say, okay, I have this because I got it from a friend, for example. If you come to my house, it's 2 years ago, and many ask me, are you still, did you move here last month or 2 months ago? Because many feel, they always feel like I have to add some things in my house and I need much, But for me, it's like it was a filter time. It was a time that I decided I will only keep few things that I need for my life, And that's where I started actually to live intentionally before going to the health matters. So when it comes to
you
the
know
health,
what it sounds like, Julie?
yeah.
Julie, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like the Japanese. The Japanese are very intentional when it comes to living minimally. If you know, when I watch these documentaries and I see the way the Japanese live, it is very clinical, or shall I say it's very clean. It's got lines to it.
Yeah.
And you're very right. It's those material things that we keep because of whatever value we attach to it, that at times we amass so much. But the Japanese live in such a way that their lives are decluttered, or is it uncluttered? Their lives are clean lines. And it brings a lot of clarity to them because now they know what they want and then they go for it. So they purposely live their lives in this way. And if I was to compare it to myself, I mean, if I was to move house the way you were moving apartments the other day, whoa, there's so much that you need to move, that I need to move. So I can kind of understand where you decluttered your life because perhaps you're at a point where you just needed to have space you need in your mind, space in your environment, so that you could now pull out the best in you. And this is one of the things that we do in self-awareness. When I take my clients through self-awareness, you know, I actually encourage you to declutter your immediate space. So where is it that you're at? Are you always in your kitchen? Is that your place? Is that your go-to place? And I encourage you that once you are in that kitchen, to declutter. How many cups do you really need? How many saucepans do you really need? How many trays do you really need? And it gives you the sense of gratitude because you go through decluttering and giving away. And you give away and you bless, you enrich in somebody else's life with that one thing that has stayed in your pantry maybe and you haven't used for over a year. It's easier said than done. But like we say, we must try something, Julie. We must start that journey, you know. So even though our things are not aligned, we need to start somewhere. So I love that your journey especially started there and you had that aha moment and you didn't realize actually it was living intentionally until you moved into your health. So guys, you can hear Julie's story and where Julie is introducing how she started living intentionally. She was not coming from a platform of knowing that she was living intentionally. It is when she started to declutter when she realized that, aha, I'm living intentionally and I cannot wait to hear her health is wealth journey. But that is just our beginning, just bringing it in, this intentional living. Tell us about your intentional living and your determination and your discipline. How did that come into play, Julie?
So I think most of the time, if you see the results of the things that you are doing, you feel more encouraged to do something even better. So for me, after realizing that after moving in my new apartment and doing these changes, I could just come home, you know, and it is spacious, it is free, you know, I just see specific things that I want to see and I have attachment to them, you know. So this result, you feel free to do other things. You're you're just free to do, to concentrate and focus on other things because this part is cleared. So that's when I started thinking about health issues because I'm a frontline worker. So during this pandemic, especially last year, it was a stressful year for us. It has been a stressful year. And this is the point whereby I say to myself, this is actually something that we never had before, you know, but
Yes.
In normal life, we have some kind of illnesses that we have had them over the years. We have illnesses that we know much about and we can control them. But why are we not doing them? Why are we not doing these things? So to answer this question of why, I started it on myself. I started it just to look in myself and see, okay, what can I do to change my physical activity? What can I do to change my diet myself? What you consume in your body, that's what you will be. So that's the moment. I think that was sometime last year. I just started to do both at the same time. I was doing physical activities and at the same time checking what I consume. So this was a very, very critical point, because when you decide on doing something by yourself, you still have your friends around you, you have people around you, and of course, for me, the number one motivation was everyone who was around me. They were influenced with what I was doing. So I saw that everybody wanted to do exercises with me. Everybody wanted to go to hike with me. Everybody wants to, they're asking, hey, how did you cook last time? Can I have this recipe? I just want to eat home, things like that. So I felt so encouraged, Lucy, that from that point, it was my turning point. I was just like, if I can change myself and influence the people around me, what about the others? What about the others? And this is just by living intentionally and knowing what I want. So that's when I can actually come to my podcast again and say, this is just part of it too. My intentions, I started on myself, on the group around me, and here we are. So,
Julie, it's very interesting. At times we tend to reflect onto the world, and we are asking questions about the world. Why are people not healthy? Why are people not disciplined? Why are people not honest? At times it is a human nature to look outside self. I encourage that we must look at self first. We need to start at home, and at home is in my body. My body is literally hosting me. So what is it in my body, of my body, about my body that I can do that can positively impact my life? Now, it could be mental issues where I'm keeping my mind alive, and I'd love to hear more about your podcast on mental issues, because these are things we are dealing with today. So whether it is social, mental issues, this is something that is important. So what am I feeding my mind with is a very important thing for me, Julie. And when I'm doing my life coaching, this is how I encourage people to think. So for now, put a pause button on the world. Start with you, because there's one thing that is very profound. The world is going to define you by who you say you are. You are who you choose to be, as you have so rightfully put it. So if people are looking at me and they're not seeing that I am someone who has a purpose, a vision, a mission, I fall for anything, I cannot give that responsibility to others. That responsibility is mine. So I need to define my life and know who I am first before I step out. Now that means I am coming from a place of creation. And it does not mean that when I make that decision today that I am already aligned, things are good, all these ducks are in a row, Julie. You are coming from a place where you had a house that was cluttered. What a beautiful place to start. because now you're able to take things apart and feel lighter. And now you moved on to creativity. So you started with self. So for my audience and our audience today, I'd like you to share with us, Beth and Rosemary and everybody else who is here with us, share with us what it is that you are doing for intentional living. You've begun to hear the journey that Julie has taken. And she says she's motivated by the results. Whenever you get a success, no matter how small it is, always take your right hand and give yourself a pat on the shoulder. This does a lot for your confidence. If today you've done this much, tomorrow you will do that much and that much and that much. And that is when the self-awareness kicks in, because you are confident in self and you are able to help other people. And just like she said, it freed up her mind. She was able to see things clearly. Look at the things she did. She talked about the illnesses that we have over the years, and you have to start on self. She said, looking at her diet. She started exercising, and guess what she did? And I'm sure we're going to look at that later on when we are discussing the impacts of living with purpose. She impacted the people around her, and she continues to do. And this, again, I'm sure Julie is giving you a lot of energy. But as we are speaking about your health and is your wealth, I would like you to talk to us about the stresses, because we may decide that this is a good way to go, believing that, oh, now I've decided to live intentionally, everything is going to be okay. It doesn't work like that. Intentional living requires us to have discipline, consistency. When everybody else is doing other things that are perceived as fun, you're the one who has to have your head screwed on properly on your shoulders and be determined. So tell us about the stresses that come along in relation to intentional living.
So generally, if I just look at stress, we can perceive it as a normal, it's a normal reaction from the body, actually, first of all. And I think we need it too. In most cases, we need stress too, but it comes, what counts is how much is it? Is it something that is just short, just acute, and then you can feel well after that? Or do you have it, or is it this chronic stress that keeps you not to do the things that you're supposed to do? This stress that when you have it, it normalizes your life so that you don't even realize that you're in a stressing situation, but you're still stressed. So if you decide to live like intentionally about your health situations, it is really, really important to get your triggers. And these triggers, they are the things that makes you get stressed. Think about maybe if you're ill, you have headache, yeah? And how do you deal with this headache? Are you going to take informed decision to decide to act on it, for example, take a rest, drink some water, or you will just sit there and say, okay, I have a headache. And you keep on adding more things on it, because it's not getting better and the stress gets even more. So it is really, really important to get your stressors, these triggers that makes you not be yourself, first of all, And after that, you can know how to go about things. And for me, if I look at my journey too, not everything was easy. Not everything was easy. So I had some points, I have very strong mentors who have helped me along the way. So it's not always that if you see me here, it's like that I just did all this by myself and everything. I had mentors and they're still there. They're so strong with me. So you really have to not lose focus when you are on your intentional journey.
Yes.
Because stress can make it can make you lose focus so that you don't even see your intentions anymore. But if you live intentionally, you have a way that you can actually reduce your body stress too, because you're not even focusing on much things anymore. You're blending away and focusing on
I see
what matters.
So basically you're controlling your environment,
Exactly.
You're limiting the things that you're dealing with. You're not spreading yourself thin. You are specific, you are intentional. And once you're intentional, then you do reduce the stress. Although you did say that there's a healthy level of stress that we need in our bodies. And what is this? What is this healthy level of stress? I guess, what is the intensity?
Yeah, it's normally the human body is made that the body reacts. This stress, it tells you that there is something that you need to change. In that moment it appears. It's like there is something you need to change, and you can actually even feel the symptoms. Know yourself, because there are people in this moment when you get into stress, it's like the people who they might sweat, they might react by that the heart rate increasing, the blood pressure might increase too. So you have to learn to know yourself first and to know what are the kind of things that stresses you.
Okay, I understand.
And if you know them, you will know at what point are you at a level where this stress is not doing any good to your body, because you know yourself. So if you start not sleeping at night because you're still thinking about something that didn't go right maybe 2 days ago or 3 days ago, it means this stress is still alive with you. It's still continuing. So by knowing, you start by knowing yourself first, by knowing how you react. And if you know how you react, you will exactly know, okay, today, this was too much than normal. Today, I just experienced the worst day, maybe, whatever it was. And to add to your symptoms, maybe you had something that you've never had before. So that's an alarm. You have to act when you get this alarm. Yeah.
We must act, because then we know our bodies, and we can tell when something is happening in our bodies that is not in alignment with health. And these are the triggers you're talking about. These are the stress levels you're talking about. We need to listen to it. And I love the example that you gave of talking about a diet and talking about exercise. But what I want to talk about is, I'm pulling it from what you said, because I took some notes here, where you talk about headaches. And this is something everybody has experienced, a headache. And a headache could be just a symptom of so much, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Julie. A headache can be a symptom of many things.
Yes.
It could be a symptom of you being dehydrated. It could be a symptom of you not having slept enough, you're deprived of sleep. It could be a symptom of some infection somewhere in your body, or whatever it is, or like for most women, it could be a menstrual symptom. Therefore, your headaches, you're getting crazy headaches. It could be about your eyes and you've got a headache. So we get headaches for different things. The thing that you talked about is taking action. Now, I don't want to dwell too much on this, but I just want to talk about decision making. Decision making in my books needs to be intentional. When you're going to decide to do something, you need to be intentional about it, so that you are focused in the way you want to be able to accomplish what you're doing. So in decision making, there's due diligence that has to be done. You have a headache. So what do you need to do? Do you need to lie down in a room without light? Is that what does it for you? Do you need to drink water? Do you need to put a hot water bottle against the place where you think the pain is emanating from to give you this headache. What do you want to take a painkiller? Do you want to take a walk? Do you want to listen to some music? It's a due diligence. It's you understanding, again, self. What works for somebody else will not necessarily work for you. However, there are some things that are called decision-making stealers, Julie. So when I take my clients through one-on-one sessions and the great group life session that I'm giving away as we turn one on social media, the first hurdle that you hit in life, you have a game plan. So I'm going to use you as an example, Julie, if you don't mind. You decided at that point to declutter your life. So you gave away things or you sold things and you ended up having a clean space around you, and a clean space meaning there was no clutter. But in that instance, suddenly you hit the first hurdle where you need something, and the something that you need is one of the things that you've given away. Or I come and I visit you and it was something I gave you, something sentimental, you gave it away. How do you start explaining to me you gave it away? This is a decision-making stealer, because you start to doubt yourself. You start to doubt yourself that you gave up something. You said no to this item so that you could say yes to this clean living. And remember, when I'm talking about clean living, I am talking about creating that space where you can breathe, where things are clear, where there's clarity. The minute you hit that first hurdle, you doubt yourself. The other hurdle that you hit is the people who surround you. And I love the fact that your tribe or your community was very interested, or continues to be interested, in knowing what you cooked yesterday, in knowing what exercise you did. But there's also the downside. This tribe can also pull you back. And it is this tribe where you need to know, what am I bringing to the table and what am I taking away? If things are not working, it is you saying no, so that you can say yes to intentional living. So for the audience, it is so important for us to know how to say no. So Julie, when we're talking about the stresses in relation to intentional living, what kind of intentional shifts do we require on a daily basis to form healthy habits? Could you give us 2 or 3 intentional shifts that we require to give us a daily discipline to form habits?
I think one of the most important thing is never lose focus why you are doing whatever you're doing. So it's like, if on your daily life, if you realize that there's something bringing you away from your path, just remember why you started this journey. That is the first thing, because your why at the beginning, that is the answer to why you should continue. You should continue this journey.
Yeah.
That is the first thing. Yeah. So, secondly, don't avoid. Don't avoid this stressor, because life is made to be that way, that we have particular times that we will not feel ourselves. So it's really okay to feel whatever you're feeling. Accept it. It's like, if it's a day that you are not feeling well, you've been just worked out the whole day, it is okay. Learn to accept it and to say, okay, today I didn't do well, but tomorrow it's not gonna be the same again. So
intentional shifts, guys.
Those are the 2 most important things that keeps me going.
2 most important things. It keeps you going. So you need to remember your why. That means your why has to be strong, like you're saying.
Exactly.
And I like to give the example of, if you were defending yourself in a court of law, and you stood there, and it is your why that you're defending, you want to think about what is it that you're going to say about your why, so that you can win this case. So your why has got to be a very strong why. You have to keep on remembering, because life happens And your why can get watered down if you do not have an intentional shift, if you do not have an intentional reason to do something. The other one is do not avoid the stresses. I love the fact that you're saying that, I'm reading it, that it is okay not to be okay. It is okay not to be okay. Isn't that powerful? Karibu sana Margaret CD Mwaro. Good to have you here. Karibu, karibu. Tumeshukuru umefika. And today we are talking about your health, your wealth. And you know, your health is not just about your body illness. It's also about your mind. And it's not that you have to be ill for you to do something. We are looking at intentional shifts in your life to make your life count every single day. And I love what Julie has told us in the past, how she shifted because of a certain situation in her life. And because she did it so well, people were drawn to her. And this gave her the confidence. She then talks about knowing yourself, that stress is normal. It is okay not to be okay. It is okay, guys. And while we're talking about this decision making, Julie, last week during the Tuesday Talks at 3, which I was hosting, I was talking about starting here and now, irrespective of what is happening around you, starting here and now. And it doesn't mean that you're going to start from a point where you are favored, where all your ducks are all lined up in a row so that things just take off. You know, you can start anytime in your life. That is what we're talking about. What I can see what Margaret is saying. Thank you. Sorry to tune in late. Multitasking, you are multitasking. Hey, you're here. It's important. We're happy you're engaging with us. We would love to hear more from you about your intentional life, Margaret. What tips do you have for us as I continue to have this discussion with Julie? So, Julie, I was talking about nurturing that journey because you mentioned something that has brought that to mind, nurturing the journey. So I take a step today. I do have a vision, because I did say that without a vision, people perish. So I have a vision. I have an idea of what it is I want to do. I've put it down. But when I start and I take off, I am hit with the first hurdle and I want to give up. So we don't give up. We don't quit. We just realign, re-execute, rethink, re-examine what it is that we are doing. However, we can nurture ourselves on this process. So we are looking at a seed. And last week I talked about when you go to plant a seed, you don't keep on going to check, is the seed growing? Is it not growing? You don't do that. You trust that something is happening underneath there. So you have to trust yourself also, Julie. This is what I wanted to share, that we trust ourselves, that now that we've planted that trust in that seed in self, we need to nurture the environment. So if it is a seed, what do you nurture it with? Sunshine, water, fertilizer, whatever it is you're nurturing it with. But when it comes to you and me as human beings, we need mentors. And you mentioned mentors here. We need coaches, because a coach like me now would be able to help you unearth the real you. You are in there somewhere. We need to bring you out. It is your limiting beliefs that have pushed you down. The other thing we need to do is read. And today you don't necessarily have to read a book from cover to cover. We've got summaries online that you can log on into. You can read excerpts on the internet. What we want you to do is be informed. When you move these intentional shifts, say to yourself, what am I filling my mind with every day? And just fill it, yeah? And then your tribe, the people that you surround yourself with. These people can be positive or toxic, and this is where you learn how to say no. So when it comes to decision making, we need to do due diligence. We need to stop and think, what is this decision going to do for me? So they could be successes and they could be learnings. I call them learnings because these are the ones that make us get back up. So Julie, thank you so much for sharing the stresses in relation to intentional living. What I would like to know now is the impacts of living with a purpose. And I can already see your impact. You discussed it in the first session. You are having an impact of influence on your friends and on your tribe. Tell us more.
So I think when you live intentionally, it is a happy life. You have focus, you know what you want. You know, it's easy said maybe sometimes, but you can never know if you don't try it, you know? So
true.
if you try to live intentionally, I think you will know what I'm talking about. It is just your mind is free. You have your community. For example, for me, my community, they are just influenced from what I was doing. And it's just like you're not pushing alone, but it is like we are a big group now, you know, it is everybody is just in the boat, you know. So it makes you happy. That is the first thing that I said, yeah. And then if you live intentionally, you will have a lot of time to focus on what's important and what's not. So you give your energy to what matters to you.
Oh, yes.
Because that's the only thing that counts.
Yes.
And then the other thing that I've learned,
what you're saying.
that I've learned by living intentionally is that you become yourself. You realize that you have a lot of talents inside you that you never knew about, you know? You do wonders and then you're just like, was that Julie? And then you're like, yeah, was that me really? Yeah, you get these new things. You come to know yourself even much better. And I think this is just the satisfying part, that the results are really, really, really good. Yeah, let's see. So
yeah. And you know, Julie, when we say wealth, people would usually go towards money, that we're talking about money. The wealth that we're talking about right now, guys, is that well-being, because this is your body and nobody else is going to take care of your body but yourself. And when your body is at its best self, you are able to do things like what Julie is saying. And I'm sure if we had more time on this session, Julie would explain to us about the energy and abundance that she comes from. That is the point she's coming from. And you can even see, Julie, Julie, we've never met, but as we have spoken on Zoom and spoken on phone and on WhatsApp, I have felt the energy from you. And clearly, the choice that you have chosen to get this wealth from health already tells me that your intentional living is so focused on your entire holistic health. And like I said, with the impact now of the pandemic, many of us are suffering from social and mental health, because it's all up here. And it is the mindset that is the challenge to overcome. We need to be able to look at an abundance mindset. But somebody will argue and say, in the times that we're in right now, how can somebody be positive? Just as you think you're rising out of something, there's a second wave. Just as you think you're rising out of it again, there's a third wave, Julie. I mean, you are an intensive care unit nurse. I can only imagine what your shift is like, because you go in there and you see the people that you're giving care to, and you can already see that for them, they are sitting there and what they're talking about is very different from what the rest of us are talking about out here, those of us who are not lying in the bed. Exactly. So you realize then what is important to the human being.
Exactly.
What is important to the human being, and you break it down. I'm sure if we had more time, we would discuss it. So coming just back to the impacts of living with purpose, guys, I'm just going to recap on what Julie has said. She says, you focus on the important things in life, just as we are saying. everything that she does every day and the patience that she has to give care every day, she's feeling that you focus on the important things of life. So where your focus is, your energy goes. So I actually beseech you, and I can see Jane Kuvuna has joined us. Hi, Jane. Lovely to see you there. And thank you for commenting on the lovely topic. Well, what we are saying is focus and let your energy go there. So if you are focusing on being a caregiver, and that is going to be your choice of intentional living, then really spread that intentional living so that your caregiving is in every aspect. Mine is to help build one another. That is my choice of intentional living. And this is one way that I do it. I am here, I pick speakers who can be able to bring to you some value. So where your focus is, your energy goes. It frees up your mind. This is the impact of living positively. This is what Julie has shared with us today. It frees up your mind. And when it frees up your mind, you're happy and you get to discover self. Isn't that beautiful? That we discover self. And it goes back to what we were saying in the beginning. You are the one who informs the world who you are. And if I may add in, as women, this is very important because if you do not tell the world who you are, the world is very quick to label you. They will tell you who you are. And you do not want the world to dictate to you who you are. So it is important, as Julie says, that we are able to free our minds, we are able to be happy and to discover self. And then she talked about support. Her community is big. Do you have a community, ladies? What will you do today to be able to get a community? A community that takes you places, a community where you can bring something to the table, you are relevant, and you can take something away. And you have the freedom of saying no to this community and walking away when you feel that they are no longer serving you. But of course, you will have been there and given it your best. Remember, we don't give up in life. We just realign ourselves. We reevaluate ourselves. So Julie, thank you. That is impacts of living with purpose. That is powerful because you are what you choose to become. This is really powerful. So we've come to the end of our hour. You know, it moves so fast this hour. And I can see Margaret is there still watching. Julie, are there any takeaways, at least 3 of them that you can share with us? We would love to have some takeaways and understand what it is they mean so that we can apply them in our lives. Over to you, Julie.
So I think the first takeaway would be like, stop, pause before making that decision you want to make. Take time, think about things first before you make a decision in your life. If it's intentional living, before you start it, pause and know why you want to do it. Number 2,
yes,
learn to say no to things that keeps you out of focus. And number 3, if you don't try, you will never know the results. You will just remain the way you are. You will not see changes. So go out of your way and try living with purpose in whatever way. If it's on your health, that's really the most important thing. If it's in your relationship or in other things. But remember, if you don't try, you will never know.
Yeah, you will never know. I mean, that one is right powerful right there. I'll give an example. Like I say, I'm celebrating 1 year of LMC consultancy. As I did this exactly a year ago and started putting together my social media platform and presence. For those of you who have been part of my training, you are aware of the story that I tell where I did not have the confidence to be able to deliver on platforms like this. it really scared me. Limiting beliefs. I had every possible reason why I should not come onto a platform like this. I overcame that limiting belief by actually applying and being purposeful and trying exactly what Julie is saying. And for 21 days, I recorded myself. Then I broke down that recording to 1 minute. And every day there was a profound message. And it is those messagings of 21 days that built up the foundation of the content that I shared today. It helped me to read up more about it. It helped me to take a course on it. It helped me to show up for women so that I could help build one another on this journey of life. And slowly, slowly, I was getting successful and I was gaining courage. And that is when I had the opportunity to think about social media, because this is where my customers were going to be, my target audience. And of course, the minute I started to try, the limiting beliefs came and they were shouting. The inner critic was telling me that I was not good enough, Julie. The inner critic was telling me that there are other people here under their belt. I should not do this. I will embarrass myself. But my inner critic went as far as telling me, that inner critic was telling me that if I started, I wouldn't finish. And then I had imposter syndrome. But what I did is I went for it. I tried it. And I love that number 3 takeaway that you're saying. And I needed just to expound on that, where if you don't try, you will never know the results. I now know the results. I have a following on Facebook. I have a following on Instagram. I have a following on LinkedIn. I am training women. I am training young girls. I'm getting contracts. You see, I would never have known that there was this side to me unless I tried. So Julie, you are so right. And guys, you want to try. It is scary. I have walked this path. If you need any help, direct message me and I can be able to give you an opportunity to win one of the 2 giveaways that I'm doing. One of them is valued at 50,000. One is valued at 15,000. And I will be able to take you on this journey so that you can unearth that creator in you. Definitely something that is of interest to you. Then stop, pause before making a decision. Due diligence in decision making. Don't allow people to derail you from your vision. Take things under advisement, but you know where you're going. Learn to say no to things that keep you out of focus. I love that, Julie. I love that. I can see Olo Jr. saying, take away number 3. Yes, take away number 3. Full of love hearts there. If you don't try, you will never know the results. Oh, vielen Dank, Julie.
Bitte schön, bitte schön.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure that you are here with us. And like I said, the hour flies by so fast. Thank you so much for sharing your takeaways with us.
Thank you.
It sounds so easy, but it is in the discipline that people realize it's the hard work, doing it every day. And the smile on your face just tells me everything. I wish you all the best, Julie, out there in Germany. I wish you all the best with your podcast. We want to be able to stay in contact with you. So please get onto my Facebook page and respond and share your contacts. Share with us how we can get onto your podcast so we can hear about our daily challenges with illnesses, and we can overcome them by being intentional. Asante sana. Thank you so much for joining us. So guys, there you have it. Julie was with us and she shared her insights on intentional living, where your health is your wealth. And I hope you're taking away value. And this June, we continue with intentional living. For next Tuesday, is going to be about Father's Day. And of course, that's intentional living, of being a father. So are you on track with your game plan on intentional living? Share with us even after this. Go in there and type it in. Oh, Lord Junior, I'm waiting for your comment on that one. In the meantime, remember to like our Facebook page to receive regular updates on these scheduled talks. And as these scheduled talks are continuing, we have our two main talks this month on masterclass of core values. We are running that on the 19th of May, and then the next Saturday, the 26th of May. And all you have to do is go into my IG and get the document there, your Google document, where you can fill in your details. It is going at 3,000 shillings per person. Each Saturday you get 2 hours. It was an amazing session that we had in May. You don't want to miss this one out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, LMC Consultancy, and hit the notification button so that you can be prompted for new videos. Yeah. So guys, until then, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.
Bye.